Hi, I'm Lou Ann Hunt, and welcome to the June edition of Lynchburg 360. Even after 20 years, Pokemon trading cards are still enthralling kids and adults alike all over the world. In fact, one of the top Pokemon players in the world lives right here in Lynchburg and goes to Dunbar Middle School. Steve Smallshaw introduces us to a 7th grader who's making an international name for himself.
How did you get into Pokemon to start with?
So around 2 years ago, I went to a friend's house and they were playing with these weird cards, and they said they were Pokemon cards, and I was really confused because they had like weird symbols and names, and I thought, oh, it's just another weird game that they play. But I later found out that it was actually extremely competitive, and that it was a game that actually had a lot of my traits in it. I love math, I love being with friends, I love competition, and so once they showed me how to play the game, I was hooked. I really love having competition, but one part of it is that it's a game where I can outskill my opponent. But it's not only based on skill. It's not a game like chess where the better player will every single time win the match. It's kind of a game like poker where you have to find out what your opponent has. There's a little bit of luck involved, but then there's skill on what you're going to do during the game.
Okay. And in just 2 years, you have become one of the top players in the world.
Yes, sir.
Does that just blow your mind a little bit?
It's been a really crazy jump. It's been amazing. This year I went to my first tournament, and I'm already at 10th in the world, and I really can't believe it.
Playing Pokemon has afforded you some opportunities to do some traveling, too.
Yes, sir, it definitely has.
Yeah.
So I have been all over the U.S. this year. I have been to Texas, Dallas, Athens, Georgia, Philadelphia, Indiana, Collinsville, Virginia, and Toronto in North America. And then about a month ago, I went to Brazil with my dad.
What was that like?
It was amazing. Brazil wasn't that much different from the U.S. other than the streets were a lot more hectic. Yeah. But just being able to be in a different country where they spoke a different language, and there was a lot of different weather, and it was an amazing atmosphere at the Pokemon tournament.
Describe what the competitions are like. Are you really nervous going into a big competition like that?
So generally I feel the most nervous before the tournament whenever I'm trying to pick my deck decision, because you pick 60 cards that you were going to play through the tournament and you keep those 60 cards the entire tournament. You can never change them. So before the tournament I'm usually nervous, like, am I playing the right deck? Because certain cards beat other cards. So when I play a deck that has really good matchups against like 3 decks but then loses to 1, and I might be like, well, I hope the 1 doesn't show up. So I'm usually nervous at that before tournaments, but once it starts and I start playing, I feel like I'm most nervous whenever the pairings come up, which who you're gonna play against for round 1, and I go and sit down next to them and I'm shuffling before the game. I feel like I'm most nervous, but once I start, I kind of zone in and don't think about being nervous anymore.
Yeah. And you make a lot of good friends too, don't you?
Yes, sir. I've made friends from Australia, Brazil, Canada, all around the world.
Sure. So the competition's pretty intense, but it also is very friendly as well.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. And where do you hope to go with this? And you're obviously going to keep playing?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I hope to keep playing for a long time, and the end goal is to go to the Pokemon World Championships, which at the end of every year, Pokemon players who have acquired a certain number of points, which is every time you finish in a tournament, you get X amount of points. The bigger the tournament, the more points. And you have to accumulate a certain number to get it this year. And I was one of the first ones to qualify for the World Championships this year. So I'm going to go there in August, and it is in Anaheim, California.
Have you already started planning then how you're going to play, what deck you're going to bring? Or
So literally the day of the World Championships, a completely new set of cards becomes legal. We know what those cards are going to be, but we're going to have no results from previous tournaments, as in what people like to play and what is proven good in competition. So it's going to be a harder process than usual to find out the deck I'm going to play, and I have not started yet because the second biggest tournament of the year is in about a month, and I'm preparing for that.
So you'll find out in a couple months, what the new cards are available.
Yes,
and you may have some of them, you may not. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So usually what I'm going to try to do is they usually release the scans or what the cards are in Japan early because they're the creators of the game. They get the cards first. Right. Usually people are able to get hold of the cards and translate them for the U.S. people so they can see the scans earlier. And then the U.S. cards will probably be on sale about a week before the tournament. So hopefully I'll be able to get the cards that I need.
Okay. How do you do all this and still get schoolwork done and be regular 12-year-old or whatever, 13-year-old boy? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So academics always come first. Sure. And I always try to, after school, I always try to get all my homework done early. I always try to study. And then after it, sometimes at night, me and my dad play each other. or else I'll get on Skype and Skype with some friends. And then there's also actually an online game on the computer called the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online, and it's just in real life Pokemon, but it's online.
If you had to explain the game to someone who maybe has heard the word Pokemon but has no idea what it's about, how would you explain it to them?
So it's kind of like chess with cards, except you get different pieces of the chessboard every single game. So you create your own deck, which is 60 cards, which you feel confident about going in the tournament, and then you get 7 of those 60 to start every single game. And maybe you'll just get no cards that you need and you'll just lose the game. Maybe you'll get like a card that says like you get to draw 7 more cards and you'll like get more cards in your hand and it'll help you more. But the game, that's the luck aspect of the game. You only get a certain amount of your deck every game. And the skill is you're choosing when to do moves and what to do. And you really have to know all the cards that are illegal. Every card that is legal that your opponent could be playing and what you are playing so that you can play around what they're playing so you can be better situated for the game.
60 cards out of how many possible cards?
Over 1,000.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so really it's any millions of different combinations that someone could be playing. So, okay. And you feel pretty confident you have a good grasp on all of them? And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel pretty confident. I don't know the one that I like playing, but I feel pretty confident in quite a few decks right now.
From a mom's perspective, what has this trip been like for you, I guess, the past couple of years?
Pokemon has really added so much to our whole family. It's been so fun. We like to try to find what's an individual fit for each of our kids in their giftings to kind of fit and see what stands out and then try to help them achieve some of their dreams. And from a mom, at first I was a little bit like, this is strange. Let's steer in a different direction. But then when I realized what Pokemon really was like and about, then I've been thrilled. It's been so fun. And the competition is fun, but to see Isaiah in something that he loves and is passionate about and doing really well, I'm very proud of him.
Yeah. Were your initial misgivings just, it looks just like it's a kid's card game, but maybe you didn't quite appreciate all the intricacies and the challenges that it provided?
I absolutely didn't get it. I really didn't understand it. And it kind of felt like, as a mom, there are cards everywhere. And it's just, what are we doing with all of these cards? Can we organize them? Is there a purpose to them? Or we're investing this money, and what exactly is it? Is this just going to be a fad, like the silly bracelets, or it's something that you just collect and collect and collect, and then just ends up being thrown away?
But it hasn't, though.
It has not. It has stuck, and it has carried him beyond where we thought he could go. And at the beginning of the year, he said, I have a dream, and my dream is to make it to world champions. He had just started the game. I mean, kids have been playing for years and years and years, have never gone to the worlds yet. And so, at first we're like, okay, Isaiah, that's great. That's a great dream to have. Let's kind of see how it goes. And then we quickly realized, oh, he's almost there. And so then we were able to continue to help him go to more tournaments and train some more and learn more about the game, and then he had gotten his invite to Worlds.
Wow. And as a mom, how does that make you feel?
Oh, I think it makes me feel emotional because I see how hard he's working. And one thing is we really try to teach all our children, give your best. And you don't sometimes know how the outcome's gonna go, but give your best. And to see him train so hard and be so brave in a vulnerable situation that he could really lose, and he has many times, and but to come out strong and be working hard. The pressure is pretty intense for a 13-year-old kid in this big environment, and I've been so proud of the way he's handled himself and the friendships he's made and the character that he has shown forth in the presence of others. I'm just very actually impressed. Very impressed.
All your initial misgivings have been blown away, I guess.
Absolutely. All my initial misgivings. And I kind of want to say, parents, teach your kids Pokemon. It's awesome. Like, play with them, buy them cards. It's a game. And it's really it's a mental challenge, and it's fun, and it's competitive, but you can change the intensity however you want to. You don't have to be wonderful at math or wonderful at strategy. It's just a really great game. Lavender. Is there anything it can't do? From scents to flavors to medicines, this popular purple plant has been in use for centuries. And one local farm has made lavender its main cash crop. Let's hit the road to Appomattox County and learn more.
Well, started with cut flowers. I'm a teacher, and so the flowers were more to keep me busy during the summer. And then it was difficult keeping everything irrigated for me, so I went to a trip to Oregon and saw the lavender farms out in the Willamette Valley. And I went, I think I'll try that, because it was very sensory. The color, the smells, just the whole look of it really attracted me. So it's very versatile, not only for how it looks in the landscape, but the fragrance, the scent, the uses for the essential oil as far as for anti-anxiety, reducing anxiety, and then also for healing skin. I don't know, it's a win-win. We have an acre, approximately an acre. It's about 800 or so plants. It's very small. Okay. When you see photographs, not only in Oregon and Washington, but also worldwide, I mean, there's acres and acres of lavender, but our conditions make it a little bit more challenging in Virginia to grow lavender on a larger scale.
How so?
The soil composition, it's very high clay content. The pH is sometimes too low, and lavender needs a pH level of 6.5 or higher. Even up to 8 is okay. We have plenty of sun, but those other two things make it more challenging. So you have to work it. You have to sometimes give up in an area, and you just have to do your homework before you put it in the ground. There's some loss over the winter and spring due to wetness. If it's too wet, lavender can only tolerate so much before it starts rotting. So a lot of it is replacement. We trim back, we cut back, so we use hedge trimmers to cut the lavender back earlier in the spring, and weeds, and put out new weed mats to try to, which is this black stuff here, plant new plants, and even have other rows that we prepared in the fall to plant in the spring. So. Only in the past year or two has it come to some sort of, maybe I could really make a go of this moment. But mainly it was like setting the stage as far as opening the farm, getting people to the farm, giving them a reason to come to the farm, doing some private events, giving workshops on lavender, how to use it, how we, not how we work it, but yeah, I guess so. So people were very curious as far as lavender farming. It gives people like kind of a moment, for lavender, especially women. I guess it's the fragrance. I mean, it does kind of, when we're out there cutting, it's, 90 some degrees in the middle of the afternoon, and we're cutting lavender by hand. You don't complain that much. It's not like cutting tobacco or harvesting corn or anything like that. I think it's kind of sedating. Easily they can incorporate lavender with other plants that are similar to it into their landscape. With the workshop, I go through different types of lavender that are best for either sachets or culinary purposes or crafting, so they know the different types. All I was interested in was growing lavender, and then I go to Lynchburg Community Market, and it kind of morphed into that then you start making products to show how lavender can be used, and then say, okay, I'm going to have a workshop of how people can grow it, how to take care of it, how to use it. And then it goes on to, let me try these other herbs too. Maybe people want to know about other herbs and how to use it. And so it kind of progressed into that. And I'm a big gardener. So the gardens, people say, wow, these gardens, they're really impressed by my gardens, which is a really great compliment. And but they just like coming and walking around and things like that. So that's why we decided to go more of a tourism than production for essential oil. We have an annual festival. We just had an herb fair last Saturday. We have a vintage fair in September. We're going to have the music series on a Sunday afternoon. That'll be coming up. And then throughout the summer months, I have crafting workshops on making lavender wreaths or wands and things like that. It's on the website, evergreenlavender.com, and we're open June and July, seasonally, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 5, or they can make appointments.
From growing lavender to growing vegetables, if you thought having a garden was something only a homeowner could enjoy, think again. Now, no matter where you call home, you too can grow your own food. You just need to know how. That's where the Davis Instructional Garden can help. It's a unique teaching space brought to you by the Virginia Cooperative Extension Service.
Hey there, I'm Kevin Cam, the Extension Agent for both 4-H and Agriculture and Natural Resources for Virginia Cooperative Extension, located in the city of Lynchburg. I'm here at the Davis Instructional Garden, the dig site, located at Humankind. This garden is maintained by the Hill City Master Gardener Association. The Hill City Master Gardeners are made up of Extension Master Gardener volunteers that have done tons of horticulture training in order to educate you, the public, all about these great things. In 2014, Virginia Cooperative Extension and Cooperative Extension in general celebrated its centennial anniversary. Me and a couple of other Master Gardeners, Richard Givens and Bob Miles, wanted to do something very special to just show the importance of cooperative extension about giving back to the community and educating people in order to transform their lives for the better. We thought, what better thing than to do an educational, an instructional, and a food garden. So, after a couple of years later, the dig site was created. The dig site is a really great partnership with Virginia Cooperative Extension, the Hill City Master Gardener Association, and Humankind. Humankind was fortunate enough to give us this property to start to use to educate others and to grow food on. All of the food is donated to the mobile food van at Lynchburg Grows and also donated to the Daily Bread. In this garden, what you're looking at now is a demonstration garden. It's educational. We want to show you the different aspects. When people think of a garden, more often than not, they think of a garden that's going to produce something that's edible. Well, we know that other gardens can be herb gardens. They can be pollinator gardens. They can be vegetable gardens. They can be fruit gardens. They can be many things. And that's what this whole creation has stemmed from. It's to educate others about the different varieties that you can garden with. This garden is nestled right on a former agricultural site on the Humankind's campus where there used to be horses. This is an old horse paddock. A lot of remediation has taken place where the limestone gravel has been removed, tons of manure and other compost has been brought in, wood chips from the city of Lynchburg, from yards from the city of Lynchburg has been brought in as mulch and other organic matter into the beds. This garden is all in ground, and it's just to serve as a meeting spot. We want the public to come in and learn more about gardening and just the gardening ecosystem that it creates. There's birds and bees and butterflies and lady beetles and other beneficial organisms that live here, not just the plants. In the future, what you've just seen is phase 1. It's about doing different types of methods of growing things. You're going to see behind me, this is phase 2. Another phase is 3. It takes a couple years for the soil to get good. We do constant soil testing for that so we can have a good pH. In the far back, we have wood chips and other compost and manure that go down on the site. There's also some solitary native bees, little hives down there for pollinators. But at the end of the day, our vision is to create this site as an educational center and also as vegetable and flower sites where you can grow, the public can grow and rent a plot and to be able to take fresh, healthy food back to your house to eat. So if you have an interest about learning about gardening or the ins and outs of gardening, whether it be herbs or container gardening or a pollinator garden or a flower garden or a vegetable garden, and you want to be a part of this vision that we have here at Humankind at the dig site, please give us a call. 434-455-3740. We look forward to working with you in one way or the other. Take care and happy gardening.
That's it for this edition of Lynchburg 360. We'll be back next month with more on all the great things to see and do around the Hill City. And in the meantime, take some time to sit back and enjoy the view.